Now I want to talk about what I call rhythmic phrasing. And the previous segment about triplets is really strongly related to that because it's about the rhythms. So when I talk about rhythmic phrasing, I mean the rhythm that's used for the lick or for the idea. And this is a really important thing to practice, I find. One way that you can do this is to listen to solos and records and really try and memorize maybe a part of a solo, a lick. Just memorize the rhythm for it, and you sing along and hum along. Now, I'm personally probably one of the worst singers north of Antarctica, but it doesn't matter. The important thing is just the rhythm. So what I would do is listen to a track and go bum bum ba dum ba da 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 da, kind of copy what they're doing, and memorize that. So then when I'm playing myself, I can actually execute those rhythms using a scale or one of these concepts that I talked about, and it's going to sound great. So I want to illustrate how I do this when I'm practicing, actually. I'm taking a few notes. In this case, I'm going to use the A minor blues scale. And I'm going to reuse the same notes, but I'm going to change where I start, where I end. The note duration of each note is going to change. So the whole phrase is going to sound a little bit different each time, but I'm still using the same notes. So that's an example of taking just a few notes, reusing them over and over, but you vary the rhythm, and it's going to totally change the sound of the whole thing. So I try to stick to just playing those notes from the pentatonic scale, and I change where I started the note perhaps a little bit, and how long I stayed on some notes and how I ended them. And by doing so, you hear it sounds different. It doesn't sound like it's the same lick anymore. Not all of these were great licks. I agree completely, but that's not the point. It's the point is that you can change the sound of just a few notes as a lick by varying the rhythm and focusing on little rhythmic hooks that's going to make them stand out. And I think when I add the triplet, I hope you notice that da 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 da. That's an example of rhythmic phrasing that works well because it just makes it more attractive to the ear because it's repeated. It's a repetition thing in there. So rhythmic phrasing as a concept is about finding little rhythms that makes the ear go, yeah, that's cool, I like that. And a lot of times the notes are secondary. And what I recommend you do to get better at this is to listen in your car when you're driving or when you're doing something where you have time to just listen to a tune. And of course, great if you can loop it. And just listen for that part you really like. And maybe that's a lick, it's a little line from a melody or something. And you listen to it and you sing along, you hum along. Ba 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 da 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 da. Or you whistle if you have to. It doesn't matter. But the rhythm is what you're after, not the notes. So after a while, you'll get that in your head and it's going to be part of yourself. You can then execute these rhythms on the guitar. You just have to, I'm going to look at some notes that I already know from a scale or something, and before you know it, you have a really cool lick. So rhythmic phrasing is an important part of improvising, and even though I just scratched the surface on the topic of phrasing, I do think this little thing I talked about just for rhythm itself should help you along the way.